Well, Joachim Kleinschmidt is covering the story and joins us now live with more on this from Medellin in Colombia. Thank you very much for your time. So why are there so many unresolved disappearances in Mexico then? Why is it such a problem across the country?
Well, basically, the problem is mostly a regional problem. You have areas in Mexico that are very secure, for example, regions like the Yucatan Peninsula, which has a murder rate lower than that of Finland. So really, this problem tends to appear in areas where you have drug trafficking organizations operating along the western and eastern routes. That is to say, you have this in states like Durango, Tamaulipas, Sinaloa, Guerrero, Michoacan, and others, and a much less pronounced problem in other regions of the country.
So could the government be doing more then if they perhaps centralised the issue? Would that help? What could they be doing differently?
As you hinted at, the problem is partly, or to a large part, due to the decentralization of law enforcement in Mexico, which is an inheritance of the Mexican Revolution in the early 20th century. Basically, in Mexico, almost all law enforcement is the responsibility of municipalities, which of course makes it easy for large organized crime syndicates to collude with, to co-opt, to corrupt, or to threaten local officials. Obviously, there's a plan from the federal government to centralize law enforcement with the state governments, but this has only been implemented in a small part of the country's municipalities, in around 18% of the municipalities of Mexico. So basically what you have in Mexico is 1,800 local law enforcement agencies totally overwhelmed with a problem that is transnational in nature, with actors that have billions of dollars at their disposal.
Is there a feeling then that the war on drugs has been lost? What's the way out of this? Is legalizing drugs or certain drugs a possibility?
Definitely, it is something that experts are looking into, and it is almost a consensus among experts that drugs like marijuana, but also other drugs like cocaine and heroin, need to be treated as a medical problem, as a public health problem, because the current prohibition is enabling large, powerful, armed, violent syndicates like those that operate in Mexico. However, what we might see if this, for example, this initiative, which has been supported by several Latin American governments, if this comes to fruition, what we would see at first is probably more violence, because the enforcement wings of the drug cartels would suddenly be without stable income and might turn to even more violent crimes such as extortion, kidnapping, and so on. So we might see a paradox effect at first in this case of legalization, but this should not distract from the fact that those violent actors in Latin American countries, in Mexico and Colombia and Central America, are primarily enabled by income from drug trafficking.
Okay, Joachim Kleinschmidt, thank you very much for your time.